But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Landfordshire. Don't go away. You won't want to miss a second of tonight's national nightly news.
30 seconds back. Here, team approved.
Oh, is this a thing now?
I think they just want to control what's best known as Peter Clement syndrome.
Oh, he's easy, except when he begins a sentence with, as me old mam used to say.
Get away with words.
Must run in the family. Have you seen these questions?
Keep smiling, it's wartime.
Oh, by the looks of these, it's more like nap time.
10 seconds. Do it for the nation.
You sound like Bozeman.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Later in the programme, I'm thrilled to say I'll be chatting with mega pop star Lil C, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And then after that, in part 3, we've got something new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Landfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolf. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's true. 75 days without an alcoholic drink, and I've got to say, I'm beginning to feel the benefits.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
A promise is worth keeping?
But something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources that you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right. We're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us because, like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, no, that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit to me. After all, as my old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade.
I suppose it does.
Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with the fat.
Well, on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that, Prime Minister.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole $5 for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox, type bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight. What
are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, well, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about Lil C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the wind up your shunt.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister.
I think the expression still stands.
Peter Clement, thank you for joining me. I don't know about you at home, but I think there's something kind of inspirational there. I know I feel safer. When we come back, Lil C is going to be giving us the debut performance of her new single, and I'll be getting to meet her. As her biggest fan, I don't mind telling you I'm pretty excited. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. gripping stuff.
Was that even news?
I think you forgot to ask him what his favourite number is.
Oh, I must have forgotten that in all the excitement.
So assuming it's not vodka, what do you think's actually in that milk? I reckon it's the tears of his enemies.
You are one disturbed individual.
That's how I cope.